Ruler School is brought to you by Happy Little Hug Factory and these amazing patrons. Extra special thank you to guest lecturer patrons Brody Harris and Lance Albertson. Thank you for your support. Enjoy the video. Hey there everyone, DMO73 here, bringing you the deck profile for the black-white Reiya discard control that was designed by Jason and played earlier this week. I definitely think that Reiya has a pretty strong spot in this meta, particularly because of all of her really low-cost kill spells and kind of like consistently in terms of being able to kill stuff very, very quickly for very, very low cost. And I think she actually has some pretty solid potential mystery counter generation that I think isn't really explored. But Jason's list here, I think, did a really good job in kind of exploring what those options kind of are. So I definitely think that you can use this as kind of a launching point and really kind of tweak it a lot of different directions, maybe to fit your personal play style. So obviously Reiya, we're not really going to talk about her front side very much because it's pretty much the same as it's always been, but on the back, she got that God's Art. So when she enters the field, you look at your opponent's hand, you choose a card until the end of your opponent's next turn. So that means all of your turn, all of their turn, your opponent can't play that card that shares names with that card. So you kind of like lock them out of their hand a little bit. And when you're playing a card deck like this that uses so much discard, that effect is actually pretty solid because you just go, okay, well, I'm just going to lock you out of the most powerful card you have, or even the one card that you have, and say you can't use it, so you have to rely purely on the cards you're going to top deck, while also I have a 12/12 flyer that can kill anything by just tapping. It really puts your opponent at a pretty big disadvantage, especially when you combo it with all of the other kind of removal that you have, as well as all the discard, specifically Glint of Insight, and we'll kind of get to that. Going into the deck itself, let's go down to the stones real quick. It plays 4 Heaven's Rift, 4 Shadowy Light, and 2 Ancient Magic. We can play 4 of the Countdown Stones instead of 4 Ancient Magics because this deck is primarily darkness instead of white. So 4 Shadowy Light starts base dark, so that's pretty helpful for us. So we can use that white if we need to, but mostly we need that base dark. Going into the rest of the deck, we play 2 Grim of the Crimson Moon, Grim Hope of the Future. It's a mystery counter generator, it flies, it has barrier from white and black, and it flips over to kind of kill anything we need to, which is pretty crazy good. We play 3 Vice Leader of the Chivalrous Thieves Blazer. Primarily, this deck does not have a ton of draw power, at least this version of it doesn't. So this guy, as long as he sticks on the field, you just get to start drawing card after card after card, while also threatening the board state with a body, so I think that's pretty awesome. 2 Gilapis, Usurper of Maddening Power, to be able to go grab those 1-drops out of your deck. You've got a lot of them, and we'll kind of talk about that as we get to them. 3 Bloodsucking Butler, Reiya's Attendant. It is a 3-cost 7/7. You can tap to add those mystery counters, and it also turns mystery counters into free -2/-2s. So I think that in certain situations where you need to kind of like ping to kind of win a combat, a trick, or something like that, Bloodsucking Butler can be really, really relevant. As well as the longer he sticks around, he just generates those mystery counters every single turn. We play a Ryula so that we can heal Reiya if necessary. 2 Honorable Thief's Guild members as kind of a high-end creature that lets us start really gaining a bunch of life for all these cards that we're drawing off of Blazer. And then that's it for the Resonator, so we move into the spells. Time Reversal, 1-drop, searchable with Gil Lapis, keep that in mind. We need to draw a card and get a mystery counter, and we can awaken it to recover everything we control at the end of the turn, which is pretty cool, including magic stones. 3 Thought Control, 1-drop, searchable with Gil Lapis, peek at your opponent's hand, discard a card of 3 or less. 2 Aura of Hope, 1-drop white, searchable by Gil Lapis, rests target Jade Resonator, so it's a way to kind of deal with getting through hits or tap something down that you don't want to deal with. 1 Separation of Fates, remember this is a 1-drop white, searchable by Gil Lapis. There are some cards in this format that actually this card is pretty solid against, specifically Jade Ruler battles or things that have Imperishable. This is really, really devastating against Imul, surprisingly enough, because she loses her ability to gain stats from all your other inverses, so she just becomes a 3/3 vanilla with nothing attached to her, so this is pretty relevant. 2 Final Battles, searchable as a board wipe off of Gil Lapis. 2 Heteroclite Excalibur, searchable as spot removal off Gil Lapis. 2 Flourishing Hope to serve as that protection, also searchable off Gil Lapis, as well as being able to kind of turn into a board wipe with the Burgeoning Despair on the other side. 3 Glints of Insight, searchable with Gil Lapis, lets you kind of really follow up after Reiya's. So like if you play Thought Control, get to peek at their hand, then play Glints of Insight, then I mean like you know what everything's in their hand, so you're probably always going to get a card off of this. Same thing is with Reiya. I've talked about this before. You can flip Reiya for 3, look at their hand. If they have Severing Winds, you call Severing Winds, and then proceed to pay the other 2 will on 2 Glint of Insights, which are going to resolve. You rip the rest of your opponent's hands to shreds and leave them with just a Severing Winds, which doesn't do anything against Reiya when she's on the board. 2 Spider's Web, so you can use mystery counters with this to be able to bring back those resonators, force some attacks, do lots of interesting things. Twin Blades of Hope and Despair, it's another combat trick card, as well as being able to turn into Sword of Fate, which can be a J-Ruler Kate card, as well as a way to really interestingly like cheat in a Grim, and then immediately like flip your Reiya potentially if you get to that much will. Just being able to recycle any of your resonators can be pretty effective. Journey to the Future as draw power, I definitely think that you could potentially run Blood Spray instead, but this is a format where you kind of want to gain life rather than take life. The only advantage is Blood Spray also turns into a removal card if you spend a mystery counter on it. So it's kind of a toss-up either way, but Journey to the Future was played in this list. Arrival of the Hero becomes free if you flip Reiya, so that's pretty cool. Lets you kind of destroy something that's getting in the way of Reiya, or prevent all damage that would be dealt to your resonators, or kind of whatever you need to. 2 Forbidden Arts because you're black-white and it's stoning to death, so why not? Vitality Drain because it serves as a pseudo removal as well as being able to deal damage and gain life. And then lastly, a Schrodinger's Observation as a potential way to close out the game. So that is the list. Let me know what you guys think. If you would add a 3rd color to this list, where do you think you would go? Really huge thanks to Jason for showing off this list. I think it is a really awesome showcase of how powerful discard can be with Reiya. She really can just rip your opponent's hands to shreds very, very quickly. Making use of her other spells such as Sword of the New Moon, or you know, these other quick like things like Miscalculation, or other really cheap answers that she can kind of support to defend herself while she's ripping your opponent's hands to shreds. And eventually I think your opponent just gets to a point where they just can't play the game because there's so few cards in their hand, and you just have this enormous board presence they can't answer. But that is my thoughts. Again, huge thanks to Jason for piloting the list. Let me know what you guys think in the comment sections down below. And until next time, this is TMO73 signing off.